Ready to make a deal? Ante up, because today we look at mergers and acquisitions.
The deal environment is very robust these days. As a matter of fact, deal volumes year to date through 2017, that's about through May, are up 12%. And that's a trend that we've actually seen that goes back about 8 years now, which is certainly the longest I've seen in my career. Deal values, though, interestingly, are a little bit different. Those have actually started to go down, and they're down about 16% here year to date. A lot of that has to do with what we call a mega deal, and those are deals over $5 billion, and there's certainly been less of those given some of the regulatory uncertainty in the environment. It does seem, Sindhu, these days that every investor is a technology investor in some way, shape, or form. We see technology deals done, and I can't give you examples because there's just too many across a wide variety of sectors. Healthcare, consumer, financial services. And as a matter of fact, last year, for the first time, technology acquisitions by non-technology companies exceeded those of technology companies. Since 2012, though, GDP growth has exceeded that of trade, but the M&A environment continues to skyrocket, right? So what we think is going on here is that in some ways, M&A could actually become a substitute for trade, right? Which is a pretty interesting thing to be thinking about in light of some of these protectionist conversations. It's also worth thinking a little bit about the cross-border environment here in the U.S. through two lenses, inbound and outbound, right? So inbound is, again, continuing a story that we've seen play out over the last couple of years. It's up about 10% year to date. What's interesting for me here, though, Sindhu, is the sources of that capital, right? So as you well know, traditionally the investors have come from Europe, UK, Canada. But we're seeing a pivot now, right, with more investors coming from Asia, and not just the traditional investors, South Korea, Japan. We're seeing the emerging markets come from China, India, and other places. We believe that in 2017, for the rest of 2017, the deal market will continue to be very robust. There's two drivers behind that, and two things that we've talked about, so I'm going to be consistent here. Tech is a primary driver of everything. In the deals environment these days. Ostensibly, the U.S. is the top tech deal market in the world, from having the small incubators all the way to the large public companies. For that reason alone, the U.S. will be seen as a key target for the rest of 2017. But Sindhu, in these times of uncertainty in and around the political environment, the business environment, et cetera, the U.S. is also considered the safest bet. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's always necessarily predictable, but for most of our investors, both domestic and foreign, it is seen as the most reliable.